Cool. Well, we had a little bit of a request, and hopefully I can give you some better understanding about a little something that we do quite often, and you guys are going to really love, which is the good old-fashioned glute bridge, or what my older brother calls sexy hump the air motion. But either way, these are a real valuable tool, and I think just a few alterations can get a little more value. Remember, just kind of creating, there's an acceptable motion and then there's an optimal motion. So with this, typically people will set up, they'll just plant their feet down wherever they kind of feel is comfortable for them, and then they'll just go about and they'll just start hammering through the air. And often you'll hear a cue of just squeeze your butt cheeks. And it seems pretty straightforward, but at the same time, I wouldn't get you to throw a barbell on your back and ask you to back squat and just go sit back and see what happens, right? And just squeeze your butt at the top. There's a lot more into it, so let's go over some setup. So the first thing I want you to transfer over is something that we deal with in something like CARs, controlled articular rotations, and this is something that comes from the FRC principles I train in, but one of the big things is creating tension. You can also transfer this to something like the back squat. So think about before you perform something, how are you setting your body up for success so that you're heading out of the gate in the right direction? So first thing I'm gonna get people to think about is taking a big deep breath and bracing. Yes, no, you don't have any weight on top of you. It doesn't mean you can't increase the body's ability to produce force and dial in tension with the body. So, deep breath in the belly, brace, and then practice irradiating tension through the entire body. So when you lay down, you can plant the feet, and we can think of, okay, I'm not just gonna lay and flap my arms down. I'm gonna plant my feet. I'm gonna move my arms out to the side. A wider base of support can allow me to create a little bit more tension and feel a lot more planted. So I'm gonna take that deep breath in the belly, even smash my low back into the ground a little bit and create this nice 360-degree wrap of tension. Send that out into my arms, splaying the fingertips, and just from there, getting everything nice and tight, driving through the glutes and bringing myself back down without losing that tension. So that's a real important factor to just make that a little bit better. Moving on, we look at pelvis position. So this allows you to identify targeting a little bit more of the glutes, chilling the hamstrings out and chilling the erectors out so you don't just get dialed up in these areas and you can actually target into the glutes. And when I talk about pelvic tilt, that's going to be you can tilt your pelvis forward or you can tilt your pelvis under. So this is an anterior tilt. It's something we would call like being insta-ready. You know, when you take those sexy pictures of yourself, when you go like this, you can do a little something like that in the mirror, right? I can really tilt my pelvis forward and showcase my hiney. But from here, that's not the best way to target the glute. So instead of tilting that forward, you're gonna think about tilting the pelvis under. Imagine you have a belt buckle, and that belt buckle you wanna be able to see, so you're gonna curl it under. So the difference is, I could set up and just hammer through the top. I'll have this big craning spine, and all that is being supported by my hamstrings and my erectors here. It's gonna light me up. I'm not gonna be able to feel the glutes. So one thing I want to do, pulling that rib cage down, we can probably deal with when we set up the right way with that big deep breath. But now I'm gonna curl that pelvis under, making sure that my hip is a lot higher than my belly button. That's gonna increase the ability to contract into those glutes, and you're gonna feel that a lot more. So those are those real two things I want you to think about in your glute bridge, is deep breath, pack the tension, irradiate it to every other corner of the body, and then drive up while trying to curl the pelvis under and push the front of that hip up. From there, bringing it back down while maintaining that same amount of tension. So try taking one breath for your entire glute bridge and holding it with the exact same intensity as a back squat. The last thing I'm gonna say is, where the hell do I put my feet? Well, sometimes we're gonna get you to put your feet in a position that makes sense for what we're doing. Hey, we might get you to put your feet underneath your hip because it makes more sense to that's where we're gonna be putting our feet for the day. Maybe we put your feet in your squat because we're squatting that day. But I want you guys to put your feet in a position that allows you to feel the glutes the most. Some people a little bit wider, some people a little bit more narrow, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, I want you to feel and connect to your glutes. So deep breath, pack that down, irradiate tension through every corner of the body. Curl the pelvis under, squeezing the glutes, lowering back down under tension. It's not about repetitions, it's about how you're doing it and how they feel. So give that a go. Take a huge freaking deep breath, irradiate tension, curl the pelvis under, and make more out of something so simple. For your butt.